All right, joining me right now is Adeniyi Kunnu. He is somebody who has been following this development and is an analyst joining us on the program. It's nice to have you join me right now.
Thank you very much.
Now, how does this statement come to you when the Senate President is saying, well, this privatization, we are not comfortable with the whole thing, is fraud from the start and all of that? Does it remind you of something, or is it a new statement? How does it come to you?
Well, I think it's been long in coming. I'd expected that something be done. Before Ahmed Lawan said it appears as if we're going to pronounce a state of emergency. In 2011, at the particular unfolding, don't forget the reform was 2004-2005.
Yes.
Government, first of all, breached our own side of the contract by reneging on providing ring fence to the private operators. That's the first big hammer against those who are stakeholders. Then do not forget that reform included provision of meters so that we can curb these practices that are illicit by many persons. The second breach was that the people who were stakeholders, obviously government cannot not be held culpable here. They didn't do what they should do, but they continued. So we had things like estimated billings and the rest of it that we didn't like. In 2012, Professor Bath Unaji was first the Minister of Power, obviously under the Jonathan administration. Let me just put it that way. By 2012, he resigned. And what we learned was that he had interest, particularly in the unbundling, that he had a company. Of course, during the administration of Olusegun Obasanjo, he had successfully did a very wonderful work that was leased to enable power in Aba, which succeeded. But becoming a minister and having interest at the same time resulted in clashes. So he was replaced by Professor Chinedu Nebo, who, until he rounded off his tenure as Minister of Power as well, did brilliantly. So if we look at the fact that many of these issues have come, Ahmed Lawan is speaking as a legislator, but he's also speaking as somebody who is in government. And government, as I learned, is in continuum. So while he will not or may not take responsibility for all of what happened between 2004-2005 up until this time, where we have been swimming in darkness and don't know when we'll get out of it. And do not also forget that at the 8th Assembly, I remember very well that the current House of Rep Speaker, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Bajami Abila, he led a particular position, he sponsored a bill and actually made a statement that it's high time that power generating companies, and particularly distribution as well, all of the private operators, stop giving estimated bills. That if you do not provide the meters, you cannot charge people. How do you calculate it? So I have to say that it's a bold step.
But we're waiting for that to actually kick off.
Well, but at the same time, I need to say this very strongly, that it begins from somewhere. But I hope that in the midst of this, government would understand that the agreement it has with the current private operators must be carefully looked into.
Do you look at the possibility of going back to visit that privatization process in the first place to put in some things right?
Well, there's no way they won't visit it, because one of the things they said was that some people every month collect hundreds of millions of naira without doing anything. So that simply means you're not fulfilling your side of the agreement, one of which is provide meters to everybody who uses electricity.
But as at yesterday, on the papers, on the papers yesterday, when Gencos and Discos were asking for about 1.5 trillion naira bailout.
But at the same time, they are asking because in the first place, how do you unbundle a power holding or a power authority? And you, as the unbundler, as the government, you are giving money to them to also pay. More or less like somebody comes into your organization, says, give me some money. You know, it's really a process that is fraught with a lot of things that we don't really
So we'll wait to see how the government is going to handle this.
Most definitely. We're waiting to see that.
All right. Adeniyi Kunnu, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.